Draft registration cards from World War I and World War II can provide you with some important information that might not be available on other genealogical source documents. Here's an explanation of what was required by these drafts and 7 possible hints to further your research. World War I saw 3 different registrations. The first was June 5, 1917, for men between the ages of 21 and 31. The second was held 1 year later on June 5, 1918, for men who turned 21 after June 5, 1917. And finally, the third registration was held September 12, 1918, for men between the ages of 18 and 45. Although the forms for each of these registrations varied slightly, there are some important differences for our purposes, which I'll show you. The World War II registration that we're most concerned about was the 4th registration, also known as the Old Man's Registration. This registration was held April 27, 1942, and included men born between April 27, 1877 and February 16, 1897. Since the range included men aged 45 through 60, its main purpose was not for military service. The registration was used as a means to inventory manpower resources and citizens' skills to support the war effort. Let's start with the World War I registration card. As you can see, the card was two-sided. Let's now focus on the important genealogical information from the card. Number 1. The first section shows the registrant's name, current address, and age. There's a big plus and a minus to this particular registration card version. The big advantage is that we can see that the registrant was born with the name Charles A. Bialystok, but is now known only as Charles Peeler. This is a great way to link an ancestor's former and current name. The downside of this version is that the card does not ask where the registrant was born. I'll show you another version in a minute that's more helpful. Number 2. The next section documents the registrant's citizenship status. This version only discloses that Charles Peeler gained citizenship through his father's naturalization and is not very helpful. Number 3. If you're interested in knowing what your ancestor did for a living, the next section will give you his occupation, who he worked for, and their address. Number 4. The following section records the registrant's closest living relative. If he was unmarried, you'll usually find the parent's name and address. If married, you'll see his wife's name. In this case, we also see that Charles's wife, Anna, is also known as Anna Peeler. Number 5. At the bottom of the front side, you'll see the registrant's signature. Once again, it's clearly marked that Charles has changed his name from Bialystok to Peeler. Number 6. At the top of the reverse side of the card are physical characteristics: height, build, eye color, hair color, and any physical reasons that might disqualify the registrant. Number 7. And finally, you can see the place, location, and date that the registration card was completed. If we were now to look at a World War II registration card, you'll notice that it is much more condensed. It's interesting to note that this card does ask where a person was born, but expect to see general country responses like Russia, Germany, etc. Nothing that would help with ancestral towns. Let's look at a different version of a World War I card. Here we see the card for Charles's brother, Samuel Bialystok. According to what we can see, Samuel has not changed his name. However, the biggest advantage of this version is that question 5 asks, where were you born? Since many of our ancestors arrived around the turn of the century, the timing of this version can provide you with an actual town name for where the registrant was born. I can tell you that this is the only surviving document that records Samuel's place of birth as Zieleń, Rus, Poland. You can imagine how that one piece of information would open up other European research possibilities. And if we compared Samuel's World War I registration card with his World War II registration card, look at what's lost. First, sometime between the two registrations, Samuel also changed his last name from Bialystok to Peeler. And look at how he now reported his place of birth, just Russia. Russia gives us no useful information on his town of birth, whereas the World War I card's information about Zieleń is priceless. So where can you find this information online? Here are 2 possibilities. If you have an Ancestry subscription, or you can use the service from your library, here is the link for the World War I cards. Family Search also has a collection of World War I cards that you can search without a charge. Because we see how indexes can vary, if possible, I would recommend searching both. We've seen that World War I registration cards can supply you with information that you might not be able to find elsewhere. With a little luck, your ancestor used the version that could help further your research. This has been another helpful video from the Jewish Genealogy Society of Long Island. Please visit our website at www.jgsli.org for more information on our monthly speakers, beginners workshops, and other projects and resources. And visit our Facebook page, where you can take part in conversations with experienced researchers. Whether you're on Long Island or an out-of-towner, we'd love to hear from you. Good luck with your research.